A lot of great stuff happened in Alaska in this past year. There's a lot of silver linings. There's been a lot of good things that have happened across the entire state. And in a lot of ways, it was a great year. And today, I'm going to be talking about what some of those are and putting you in the mood for the Thanksgiving season. Before we get started, though, do make sure you give this video a like, subscribe if you haven't done so already, and let's go ahead and jump into today's video talking about what it is that Alaskans are grateful for in 2022. Now, the first thing that they're grateful for is, well, Alaska is still beautiful. Regardless of whatever is happening in the lower 48, we are definitely seeing that Alaska is still a really beautiful area where we can kind of retreat to and just enjoy nature and be able to kind of get away from the hustle and bustle of life. So that's number one. The second thing that we're really grateful for up here in Alaska is that the PFD was actually pretty large this year. For those of you who don't know, the permanent PFD stands for the Permanent Fund Dividend. And what this is this says that Alaskans get a certain portion per person for the revenue generated from oil production that's generated further up north. So this is great. For some people, especially if you have a large family, not designed to be enough for you to actually live off of. This year, it was about $3,200 per person. So a nice little bonus check that you can expect. Usually it's going to be a lot smaller. We're looking at something closer to about $1,800 or something like that. So it's not going to be life-changing, but it is something that's a nice little bonus. And I mean, that's the largest I remember it being in recent history. So that's one big thing that we're definitely grateful for. While we're on the topic of money, while inflation did go up and we did see an increase of cost of goods and cost of shopping and all that, I did a video a little bit ago with Lauren Ham over with, I think it's This Alaska Life, if I recall correctly. That's her YouTube channel. We did see that there has been kind of a moderate increase in the groceries here in this area, specifically looking at dairy. But, Alaskans do also have the ability to kind of offset a lot of that increase of goods by focusing more on harvesting the land, whether that be salmon fishing, whether that be hunting, whether that be berry picking, whether that be getting a wood stove and then just using the dead wood on your property to heat your house as opposed to using gas or whatever your other heating source is. Alaskans do have the ability to kind of rely more on the land than they do in most other places. So that's definitely something we're very grateful for. Let's take a break real quick. If you've been watching this channel for any amount of time, you do know that I focus primarily on the South Central Alaska area. And while that's going to remain the case moving forward, we are actually going to be partnering with our colleagues across the entire state to bring you market updates for what's going on inside the markets of each one of the big market centers here in the state of Alaska, looking at Fairbanks, Kenai, Homer, Kodiak, and Juneau/the Southeast area. So this is going to be a very exciting project called the Trailblazer Project. I've not seen this done in any other state before, where we are bringing you all the market updates for the entire state under the roof of one channel. So this is going to be a lot of fun. So when you guys are seeing market updates coming from people who aren't just me on the channel, you know what's going on there. If you guys are really nice, then we might actually be able to convince some of these folks to actually provide some more content and talk specifically about what it's like living in their market. So when you see these videos pop up, make sure to jump over there, give them plenty of likes, plenty of love, give them lots of comments. And just know that that's fulfilling kind of the mission we still have on the YouTube channel to help you build an intentional and significant legacy for yourself and your family by coaching you in real estate, whether that be in South Central Alaska or anywhere else in Alaska that we have our colleagues in at the moment. So just want to make you aware of that, and let's go and finish today's video. This is another point that I really believe most Alaskans are very grateful for, and that is that unlike the past couple of years, there have not been any big riots or fighting in the streets or anything like that up here. Usually our communities are pretty tight-knit, and we really don't see any kind of the big upheavals like what you see in other parts of the country. So by and large, Alaskans are going to stick together, and we're usually not going to be the group that ends up having the cities raised for whatever reason. And so that's a good thing. We usually have the ability to kind of work through our issues and not have to resort to violence. So if you're up here in Alaska, that's probably one of the big reasons that you're grateful right now that, by and large, we just haven't seen any kind of wide-scale upheaval like what you have in other parts of the country. Now, let's go and take a break real quick. For those who've been watching for a bit, you know that I host the Alaskan Journey podcast in addition to the Alaska Realtor YouTube channel. And on the podcast, I do interview people who've recently moved up here to Alaska and people who've lived up here for a while and talk about their experiences. If that would be useful for you, do make sure you go check out the link for that podcast in the description section down below. And without further ado, let's go and finish up today's video talking about the things that Alaskans are grateful for. Now, I haven't really commented a whole lot on this in the past, and I'll talk about why that is in a minute, but I haven't heard anyone recently talking about Russia invading Alaska anymore, and that's something, Alaskans are pretty grateful for. I actually did think about making a video really laying out exactly why that is such a stupid proposition that the Russians would ever be able to successfully pull that off and really kind of lay that out exactly and all the facts. But I decided not to because I don't want to end up in some briefing room in a Russian war room somewhere. So I'm not going to make that video, but I'm just glad that we are not really hearing about that anymore. I know a lot of people were concerned. Not really Alaskans, though, because we actually kind of understand the reality on the ground up here. A big thing Alaskans are grateful for is that COVID is largely a thing of the past up here. In places such as the Matsu Valley, you didn't really see a whole lot of, people participating, I guess. That might be listening to, being attentive to, cognizant of, whatever the word is, of the whole pandemic to begin with. In places like Anchorage, you definitely saw a much bigger presence of COVID policies while COVID was going on. But regardless, we are saying that largely COVID is kind of a thing of the past, and people catch it every now and then, yeah, but it's not, I'm sure it's the same as where you are right now, but somebody catches COVID, it's not like, oh my gosh, it's just like, oh, okay, got COVID, see you in about 10 days or so. That's really about what it is right now. So, the fact that COVID is more or less a thing of the past really is something most Alaskans are grateful for, so we can get back to normal life. If you're in the hospitality industry, this next one is going to be definitely true for you, and that is the tourist industry came back big time this year. I actually heard that this past year was actually one of the biggest years for tourism in the entire state, which is great. People are starting to get back out there again, starting to enjoy Alaska and everything that it has to offer. We love having visitors up here, and obviously all the tourism and business associated with it is great for the state and helps to kind of diversify our entire state's economic outlook. So that's really good. And final thing that we're really grateful for is we actually also had a record-setting year as far as all the salmon that came in on the salmon run. So if you're into the commercial fishing, this was a big year for you. I think it's like 2, maybe 3 times more the number of salmon than what usually comes in on a run is what they were able to get. So if you are a fishing family right now, you are probably trying to decide how best to utilize all the money that you have right now, just because the run was so plentiful, which is really good. We definitely need to have those years in there. And for those of us who were dip netting on the side of the streams, pretty good year too. We're able to fill up all of our freezers and kind of offset the cost of increased inflation and cost of groceries and stuff like that too. So it really was a great year all the way around, and a lot to be grateful for, a lot to be thankful for during this Thanksgiving season. So, I sure hope it was a great year for you as well. And from Alaska, I hope you have a great holiday season. And if you have any questions, make sure to post those down below. And if you have anything you're really grateful for, make sure you post that in the comment section down below. We'll see you next time.